No matter how big a problem, whether it's a giant, scary, nuclear armored communist country, or whether it's AI taking over the world, beyond that, there's a God. There's a God that created all of it. Not to give yourself a placebo or an opioid, but rather to connect with that voice and to let that speak to you and who you are and what you're capable of, rather than these limiting beliefs that are coming at us. That's what our community is the reminder of that voice of God, that you are worth something. Welcome back to Love, Life, and Legacy, the podcast dedicated to helping you navigate these hypersexualized times. Everybody, Andrew Love in the house, and today I had to get this episode out into the world. I didn't ask permission from my mommy or from Benji. I just laid it down on wax, as they used to say when they put things on wax. I don't think they ever put video on wax. Never mind, I'll keep moving on. It's because I've had this on my mind all week. I had to get it out urgently. And it is who High Noon is becoming and how we're refining our processes and really becoming a tour de force. And our tendency, especially in our movement, is to try to be everything for everybody, like everything for world peace, which spreads us really thin, right? Because we do want to save everybody equally, like that's the heart of God, but we don't have the capabilities of God necessarily. So High Noon kind of was doing that for a while, and we're getting better at really focusing on what we're best at and what we can do. And, that's what I'm unpacking. This High Noon's going somewhere really, really exciting. And I want to invite you into that journey. So please come with me into this podcast. I'm going to open the door. Come in. Let's go. So you didn't see that. I was pushing some plastic bag out of the way so that you couldn't see it. Not that I'm not living the High Noon life. I just am living. If I were to show you the real state of this room, it's not because I live in some post-apocalyptic wasteland. It's because we are about to move back to America, and we have 15 million suitcases in this room, and we are coming home, everybody. So I'm not expecting a parade like, I don't know, millions of people. It wouldn't be nice. It'd just take a long time to get home. When you fly there, it'd be the worst, actually, to be that famous, to just have this really long flight, and then all you want to do is go home and go to sleep, and then you have to go through this parade. How you would look after like 30 hours in the air. Oh my God. Anyway, I have angled this camera appropriately so that you cannot see my life that is presently in flux. But today I wanted to catch you all up. I really want to do a shorter episode. Even when I say short, it's still like 30 minutes, which is shorter than, I guess, when Benji and I speak for 45 minutes. But I like to do extra short. Because I've been having basically the same conversation many times throughout this week, and it keeps on coming up for a reason. Because I view it to be important, but I also just think High Noon is going through this evolutionary uptick where we're getting better, we're getting faster, we're getting more focused all the time. And what's come up this week in particular is who we are as an organization is getting really important. And okay, just let me get into it. I had a bit of an existential crisis this week. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff about AI. And I really got wrapped up in it. I promised myself that I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole because there's a lot of people with doomsday predictions about within the next 10 years that we're all going to be extinct. And there's people that really, and they're like, trust me, we know because we're in tech. And first rule of thumb is don't ever listen to these guys because they're all atheists, okay? And they can't see beyond their egos. And they all think that they are like the Sam Altmans, the Mark Zuckerbergs, all these guys believe that they are something special. They're not. I once heard Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, this kind of powerhouse team of probably disgusting people. Who knows? Who knows these? But Bill Gates said if we were born in any other era, we would be useless, right? But we happen to be born in a time when nerds were celebrated because that's what these people are, right? But I'm telling you this because these guys are really all about worrying themselves silly into a frenzy about how we're all going to be extinct. The human race is going to be extinct. It's pretty intense because they don't see the vision. They don't understand that Chanukuk is here. And if you have faith, this is where faith is not saying like, yeah, I believe in God and it's some broad thing, but it doesn't impact your decisions or your feelings. It's real faith guides you, even in terms of how you feel and how you choose to feel. Because we can focus on a lot of things in our life. We can focus on how many people suck, right? You just walk down the street and like, that guy sucks. I used to be an expert in that, actually. Even though I was a really nice, warm-hearted kid, I turned very cynical in my teens, and I became an expert in like making fun of people. Not cool. Not a great skill. But that's where my focus was. But ever since meeting true parents, becoming somebody who understands really the heart of God as much as I can, that God is this being of unconditional, overwhelming love, and we can tap into that. And that becomes my focus. Then I can see, wow, yeah, humans are evolving tremendously. We're doing a great job here. And because, we're being led by all sorts of politicians and these tech billionaires and all this, our view of what's possible is tainted by their limitations rather than our faith, which is unlimited, right? Our faith in particular is all about the limitless nature of the give and take action of humans and God. When we are in a deep relationship with the divine, with our parent, that energy can produce any thought, any solution to any problem, can guide humanity to this place where there are no limits, right? So that's where you want to be. But I got sucked down into the other place a little bit. And I let other people's worries become my worries. And it was about a day. And luckily that night I went out on a date with my wife. And we've been dating a lot lately. I love it. And this time we went to a nice restaurant. And they said, do you have a reservation? And I was like, no. And they're like, you can't come in. And I said, they just opened. And I was like, you see all those tables? Do you see how they're all empty? They're like, yeah, no, you can't come in. I was like, are you? Anyway, I looked at my wife and said, I'm not going to ruin this night by having a hissy fit.
Hey guys, this is a quick sponsorship for our main program, Ascend. We get to do sponsorships, right? We're a nonprofit. We don't do any advertising. But our free program, Ascend, is just for you guys and gals who want to have sexual integrity. You're tired of the porn and masturbation cycle and you want to break free from these shadows and shame. So join us at highnoon.org to join the sexual integrity program called Ascend. We have groups, we have mentors, we have everything you need to succeed. All right? Join us at highnoon.org and I'll see you on the inside.
Wonderful conversation. Very lively conversation. What was really funny, if you listened to 2 episodes ago, I was talking about how we're so stimulated because there are TVs even in restaurants and in dental offices, wherever. My wife was facing the TV and I was facing the window. And in the beginning, I had to ask her, do you want to date me or the TV? And so I had to move my chair so it wasn't a competition. Anyway, that really helped to calm me. She anchored me a lot because she really reconnected me to the fact that God is very real. Chanukuk is very real. Things are in motion for a better world to be created. There might be some trying days for sure, but ultimately we're headed towards a beautiful, beautiful, lasting kingdom of beauty and love, etc. Okay, so what on earth does any of this have to do with High Noon, you might say? Great question. Well, loosely, and I'm tying it all in here, my existential crisis, in the height of it, when I was kind of in this frenzy, I really was like, well, where does High Noon fit into all of this, right? Where do we fit into the fact that humans are becoming more reliant on their phones and less reliant on feeding their soul through connection. And I just started having conversations with Uncle Dave, and then with the chapter leaders, and then I just became obsessed with this idea, like, this is it, okay? This is what High Noon is. Let me explain it. We're two things. Number one, the first one, the former. We are going to be the masters. We're already great at it, but we're going to be the masters of giving very practical, drip-fed information to the people who come into our world as to how they can make their life incrementally more something that reflects Channel Guk. Simply said, we will give you guidance on how to be a heavenly version of yourself, and the support, hand in hand, right there with you, human support on how to get there. This is going to be an invaluable thing, because even, in all these conversations, somebody mentioned, yeah, Tony Robbins has this AI, thing that you can get. It's $99 a month, and you can have his voice, and he can be your coach. And like, everybody's going to be going into this realm where we get AI to outsource pretty much everything if we can for those people, but not us. I feel like if we double down on the human element and we provide you not the whole plan of how you're going to fix your life, how you're going to go from porn addiction to completely in love with life and connected and all that, we're not going to give you that whole thing at once. We're just going to give you the drip by drip conversation so that you can unravel this, so that you can create a plan that makes sense for the next 3 months, and we will support you every step of the way. I just had an amazing call with a husband today, and it was a very emotional experience for him, and I was observing. I was trying not to get emotional, but like, that's my passion, and that's all of our passion here at High Noon is people. So think about that. In a world where humanity is dwindling and we're becoming more digital, we're losing the aspects of our humanity, which is our own free will, which is our capacity to connect naturally to our environment, to nature, to people. We're just losing ourselves to the digital world. And this is just with cell phones, right? This is like early stage. They're talking about planting chips in our brain or whatever, Neuralink, all this stuff, where there is no separation. Well, guess what? If we are going to go there, I mean, that to me is something that I never want, but who knows? I also remember saying that I would never get a cell phone. This is probably 2008. Me and my friend were like naturalists, and we're like, cell phones are stupid, man. We're going to stick just with computers, man. And then somebody gave him a BlackBerry, and I was like, man, you're a sellout. You're a sellout. And then he had to make justifications. Well, it's for work. And I was like, no, man, there's no excuse. Cut to, everybody has a smartphone, right? So who knows what the future has in store. But if this is how bad we are and disconnected we are from our spiritual selves, from the human, what makes us uniquely human, and we just have stupid cell phones that we can just pick up and put down, but like Zuckerberg's talking about glasses that are on your face 24/7, good God, we have a lot of preparation before we're ready for that tech, okay? If we were to do an assessment of like, are we ready for the next phase of technology? I can guarantee you that we are not. Like, it's pretty obvious that we're more anxious, we're more sick, young kids are more depressed. There's like, just look at all the stats. We're not ready, but we're going there anyway. So if you want to be prepared and you don't want to be freaking out, then join us. We're still on part 1 here, which is to make a plan, and we'll give you the step-by-step on how to reach that plan, and we will hold your hand every step of the way. That is through mentorship. That is through joining groups. This is how we can be of extreme value to you. Because the next point, right, is to experience the spark of connection. And if you don't know what connection is, go back to my 2-part series where I talk about in detail what it means to be connected and how to get that for yourself, okay? But the connection is going to be through community. It's going to be through mentorship. And we've always been doing that, but it's always been hard to manage, to be honest. And especially now we're a global organization, multiple languages, all around the world. It's not easy, but we're going to excel at creating community that provides the deepest connection that you can get online. and people are knocking on our door to do things in their communities and do things live. We're happy with that too. But in reality, like, the people who need our help are not always located in one borough, in one city, in one state, in one country, right? They're spread out. So we are going to become world class at designing community that creates that deep connection that allows you to feel like, yes, I'm loved and I love. I'm loved by God and I love God. I'm loved by these brothers or sisters in my groups and I love them. That's part 2. So part 1, helping you to create a vision and execute on that vision while holding your hand, by giving you this drip by drip, day by day, plan for the day, executing. We're supporting you. We're celebrating you. And then the second part is doing this in community, doing it all together so that we can experience that spark of connection that allows us to feel alive, truly alive, so that we stop sacrificing our soul in the name of cheap dopamine and a quick escapism. Okay? So that's where we're headed. This is what High Noon is. I just had to record this podcast because I've been ranting. I would say between 6 and 8 times I've kind of relived the same conversation and refined it. And I realize it's because it needs to come out and I need to refine it for my own sake. So maybe at the very worst, this is just me ranting to myself to crystallize an idea. But I also wanted to let you in on this. I wanted to let you know where we're headed, that, the more an artist graduates to the next level and evolves into a master of their art, the simpler they get in creating something beautiful. So like they say that true artists, real amazing artists, painters, people who draw, they can create in one stroke of the paintbrush what it would take another artist 100 strokes of the paintbrush. As High Noon grows and we get better, we're refining and simplifying our process. I can see it happening. And I want you to stick with us and I want you to keep it up because your life will get simpler in the meantime. So I hope this made sense. I know this was a lot, but you need a plan and you need people to help you execute that plan. Part 1, we got you. We will help you. And we're getting better. We just created a bunch more content. We're going to create more levels to High Noon. Ascend Level 3 is going to be doing Storyworks. And I'm going to have Sammy on the podcast talking about what is Storywork. This is kind of crazy and deep what that's opening up in terms of people healing themselves. So we're getting into helping to create like leaders and all this. But at the end of the day, whether you're new to High Noon or you've been around for years, we are going to go deeper and deeper in terms of how connected you're able to be with the people in your group, the people in our world, in our High Noon universe, so that you can thrive in this world that is filled with question marks. So just to end, I have no anxiety anymore. It was kind of 2 days that culminated in some pretty legit anxiety. And luckily, again, my wife and I went out on a date. We just happened to be, and I just told her what I'm going through, and we unpacked it, and I realized that I've been listening to the voice of man and the plans of mankind. Mostly actually men, but also just humankind. Let's just say humankind. I've been listening to the voice of humans and not to the voice of God. And guess what? No matter how big a problem, whether it's a giant, scary, nuclear armored communist country, if you're into that, or whether it's AI taking over the world, beyond that, there's a God. Beyond that, there's a God that created all of this. And not to give yourself a placebo or an opioid, right? But rather to connect with that voice and to let that speak to you and who you are and what you're capable of, rather than these limiting beliefs that are coming at us. And so that's what our community is the reminder of that voice of God, that you are worth something. You are worth far more than porn. You're worth far more than settling for fighting as a couple, fighting as a family. We're meant for love. That's what we're designed for. That's our DNA. Thrives when we're in a state of love. And we can't do this alone. We need community. Let High Noon be that community, especially in terms of sexuality, especially in terms of relationships, right? Join Core, join Radiant, join Ascend, stay with us and invest. If you've been through, a round or two, start becoming a facilitator, invest in other people. That's how you graduate to the next level. In the name of keeping my word, we're at about 17 minutes. I'm going to stop here. This is a sub 20-minute episode, people. It is possible. I hope this was helpful. I hope you're in love with life. I hope God is speaking to you in very meaningful ways. If not, don't forget to open the window at night, the window to the dimension of God's love, and let him in, let Heavenly Parent in and experience the divine. And then you'll realize, oh yeah, we're going to get through this. We're going to be okay. All right. Take care. Hey there. I hope you enjoyed that episode. As you could tell by my face, a magical experience for myself. I hope it was magical for you. I hope you got a lot out of it. Let me invite you to the Ascend program. I want to take a little bit of time just to make sure that you understand what this thing is. You see, every few months we open up registration so that people can join our porn recovery program. If you have any issues at all with porn, even, it's just once a month, I just masturbate every once in a while, this is all an opportunity for you to figure out, why do you do these things? Why is it that you run away from yourself? Why is it that you use sex as a form of escape rather than a form of connection to God? There's so much that you can learn about yourself if you prioritize the process of learning. And that's all the Ascend program seeks to do, is to help you to understand yourself at the highest possible level regarding sexuality, about your unhealthy habits and replacing those with healthy habits so that your sexuality aligns you with God and your ideals. So please consider joining. Go to highnoon.org. It's right there at the top of our website. Register. Get yourself in the Ascend program. If you've been thinking about it, do it. If you haven't been thinking about it, do it. Just do it. Thanks so much, everybody. See you next week.